Hey there, Tamir from Fibonaccis-Traders.com here. Today's talk show we have Sara, the Perceptive Trader. Sara is an FX trader, trading performance coach, and helping traders to rewire their brain for a peak performance. Sara, thank you very much for joining us. It is finally
Thank you,
nice to
Tamir.
meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. Thank you for having me, and thank you to all the traders that are gonna watch this video. They're watching this video, so yeah.
Perfect. So tell us about something about your background and what leads you to trading.
Okay, so I actually took a degree course that has nothing to do with finance, economics, trading whatsoever, and I had the opportunity, quote unquote, to work on a 9 to 5 for 1 year in this course that I took. And it was a job that I didn't enjoy it that much. I really didn't enjoy it. And so I started to work on myself. I started to feed better habits. I started to read a lot. And I started to ask myself, is this really what I want for the next years? Yeah, or for the rest of my life even? And the answer was an absolute no. And it was clear, like I put it things on the balance. And okay, so I need to change something here. I need to do something different. And so I started to know more about passive income and everything. And at the time, my friends were already in trading, forex trading, some of them, and they were making money. I don't say that they were profitable, like huge profitability, but they were making aside money, and so that attracted me a lot. And and I just didn't conform. And trading was really the only way that I knew to make passive income. For example, I didn't know at the time about e-commerce, drop shipping, nothing. Like online money for me was only trading. And when I realized that a lot of psychology was involved, which is a area that interests me a lot, I'm passionate about psychology and human behavior. When I started to understand that trading involved a lot of that, it was amazing. And I just said to myself, okay, this is it. And I started to lose money, and I started on demo accounts and small accounts and lost more money. But eventually, I'm doing this for about 5 years, and yeah, now I'm finally consistent.
Perfect. Sounds perfect. So can you share with us some of your early mistakes and what was your learning curve through those mistakes and through this failure that let's be honest, all traders go through the same failures, the same journey. They see on YouTube, they see on Telegram groups, Facebook, WhatsApp groups, everybody's making money off trading. So let's do trading. And then
Yeah,
they
you're absolutely right. I mean, when it comes to mistakes of traders, I think they are pretty much the same, but the cause it's what's different. So for me, I would say that the first mistake I did was like trying to cover it all up. Like I thought there was a gap in my knowledge, and the more I would learn from the internet and from books, the more I would think, okay, I don't know nothing. I need to know more. I need to do more research. And it's funny because at the time I started to learn on Baby Pips. So babypips.com is like a platform that teaches you trading. It has like a small course. And I was making appointments on the technicals and everything. And I remember this as if it's yesterday. And it was funny because I realized that that's pointless. Um, so that was my first mistake. And then I would say that um, my surroundings, it's not a mistake, but it was a huge barrier that I was able to overcome, was that my family didn't support me at all. And I'm sure that traders that are hearing this right now, they can relate with me, because a lot of my clients and a lot of the people I talk in trading, their parents and their families, they don't understand, and they know that they don't support them. And many times they think they should. But it was difficult for me because loving these people and having no support from them, it's just it was difficult to persist. But eventually, we just have to isolate and balance our environment. So I started to know more people online. I started to connect more with them, and I started to control the environment around me in order to lead me in the way I wanted to. That was a huge barrier as well. Now, I would say the other mistake that I did was trying to make swing trading work. And this I already told, like I think in a blog post of mine, that at the time, all my friends, they were swing traders. And that was all I knew, right? And then I would go to the internet, to Instagram, and all I would see was swing traders. And some of them would say that that was the only way to make real money. So I was like tunnel vision in swing trading, but it wasn't quite like that. I started to realize that it wasn't my thing. And when I adapted my swing trade strategy to a day trade strategy, so shorter time frames, smaller time frames, I started to feel more comfortable with trading. I started to, well, my performance just improved overall, as well as the results. So it just made instant sense for me. So that was another mistake. I would say that these three were the biggest barriers of my trading. Of course, I had many others, but these three were the strongest when it comes to emotionally charge in my
Yeah.
trading.
Just to make clear for our viewers that you need to know your time frame and to be very strict rules on the time frame that you are trading, because in my course, when I teach my students, I always tell them start small and start swing trading, because when you swing trade, you can learn the curve and you can learn the process. Then you can drill down to day trading on the 5 and the 15 minutes charts. But day trading is far more dangerous than swing trading. But if it works, it works.
It's about your
So
personality, right?
yeah, it's especially in this kind of market where the volatility is like we saw yesterday, crazy, and
It's super
throughout
high.
2022 the SPY and the Qs are behaving like meme stocks like AMC and GME back in 2020. It's crazy. So yeah, once you know your time frame exactly, then it doesn't matter if you're swing trading or scalper or even day trader, just know your time frame. So now that we know your time frames, how you manage the stop loss, the entry, what's your daily routine on?
About the stop loss. So I would say that for my strategy, I'm a day trader, right? And I studied, well, a method to the best time and in the best conditions that I would push my stop loss to break even, which would be risk free. And for me, this is at 15 pips, but this is only for my strategy. So it doesn't matter for other traders and with other strategies. You have to test it for yourself. When it comes to the way I manage my stop loss and my risk. So I had a spreadsheet, and I don't want to be calculating my lot size every time, like depending on my balance. So what I do is I have the average range of pips that I use for my stop loss. So in my case, it goes from 10 to 30. So I have 10, one line for 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. 30 is rare, but yeah, time to time, depending on the pairs. And so for each for each peep, for each range of peeps, I have the lot size already there. So to prevent myself from like calculating while I'm trading, which is not the idea. We want to be trading fast. So I just take a look at my spreadsheet. I see what's the lot size I should be using, and I enter the trade. Right. After three losses in a row, I considerably reduce my risk, and so I have another spreadsheet for the lot sizes. correspondent to the same range of pips, and then I use the other spreadsheet. If I want to increase my risk, I have another spreadsheet. So I have these different spreadsheets, and I alternate, and I use them according to the risk I want to use at the time. So this is the way I manage things. So I'm not like constantly calculating lot sizes. For me, it's not about being super strict with a lot size. It's like an average. And so that's why I have 10, 15, 20, 25, 5 to 5 pips in between. So yeah, that's really the way. That's the way I manage my risk. I sometimes also trail my stop, but that's only when I hold positions overnight. So I'm a day trader mostly, but there are times that I hold positions overnight to take my second partial profit, because I take partials. And so my first partial happens in the same day I open the trade, but my second partial, many times, if it doesn't happen on the same day, it happens the day after. But at that time, I'm completely risk-free. So for me, it doesn't matter. And sometimes I trail my stop. It really depends on the situation itself, depending on the average holding period. But I hold trades up to 3 days maximum. And then it's possible that I hold my last small cut of the trade, which is like, say, 10%. And I run that trade for many days more, because it's like the last partial, maybe I'm gonna have a home run. So I just leave space for that small last cut to just run. So that's the way I manage my trades, pretty much.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Perfect. So how are you dealing with losses? Because we all have, even it doesn't matter how many years we are in trading, everyone has this time that doesn't matter how we trade, how we enter the position, everything goes against us. We have a streak of losing, like a week or a month even, that the losing streak is like almost unbearable. And we all have these periods in time. How do you deal with it?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing, well, in the beginning, it was really difficult for me to deal with it. I was like trying to look for a way to avoid losses, which is like very incorrect to do. But with time and experience, and also with confidence, like the more I traded my strategy, the more I went through these periods of losing straights and drawdown, the more you build the skills to overcome the next time you find the same situation. So traders, for us to become great performance, because this is a performance skill also, we need to practice under adverse conditions, right? And so this is one requirement for us to become great in what we do. So if we're trying to avoid these adverse conditions, which is losing straights, as you said, losses, drawdowns, missed trades, if you're trying to avoid this, we will not build the necessary requirements that arm us with the weapons, let's call it like this, for the next time. So we have to put ourselves, quote unquote, under those situations. I mean, we shouldn't try to avoid them, but we should see them as an opportunity to just build up our skills. And that's really it, because if you're only trying to avoid those situations, you'll never get used to them, and they are inevitable. They're gonna happen. So you need to expose yourself out there, and to just do not fear these situations at all. They are opportunities.
Accept the risk.
Exactly. That's another. Accepting the risk, it's another.
Let's talk about your process, because frankly, to learn the technical side of trading, everyone can do it in like few sessions. The most difficult issue that we all have, and we all face it day by day week by week. Every time we open the computer, we see the chart. We go to press the buy or sell. Emotions and the psychology, because we are human beings. In the end, we are human beings. We have emotions, and throughout our lives, everywhere, all aspects of our lives, emotions control us, and we need to accept it. So I will let you, how you found your way to deal with these emotions and the psychology part of trading, which in my opinion is 90% of trading, is the mental side.
Yes. So yeah, that's a very good question. So you refer that we are humans, we have emotions, and that's very well said. And what a lot of traders think sometimes is that we need to suppress emotions, we need to ignore emotions, and we need to find a way to somehow trade emotion free, emotionless. But this doesn't exist. It's only when you accept that you have emotions that you are able to change them. Because if you, it's like everything in life, whatever you don't accept, you cannot change. So first we need to accept that emotion going to be there. But there's differences in emotion. There's noisy emotions, and this is where the emotion controls you. It gets very noisy, and you cannot think clearly. And there's times that you are able to trade with lower emotions, like less noisy emotions. And when you can keep your emotions like less noisy, you can think clearly and can think, okay, I'm feeling this. Does this fit the behavior that I want to have? And we need to understand that there's really a space between emotion and behavior, and utilize this space to our advantage. So it's only up to each trader how they utilize this space. But that doesn't come with ignoring emotions. That's the first step. So the way I found it, and I do it also with my clients, the first thing I say is you need to know your enemy. And your enemy is your bad patterns, your worst patterns in trading. So you have bad habits, you have mistakes, and you want to know them, right? You want to know what are your thoughts when you have these mistakes, when you make these mistakes. What are your emotions? What is your self-talk? What do you say to yourself? Um, what do you do different? You need to know your enemy very well to then handle with it, then establish methods to work on it. But then like as a second step, you also need to know your best friends very well, right? You need to know how and in what conditions can you hold a good performance, because if you don't know this, you will not be able to reinforce it. So you want to double down on things that are already working with you. And the way you have to do it, it's just knowing what works for you, simply because you have a range of things in trading, and even utilizing one strategy, you have a range of things that work for you and that doesn't work. So you have to know your strengths, the strengths of your strategy, and utilizing them in the different market conditions, and not trying to make a perfect strategy, and also not trying to be perfect. There are no perfect human beings. So knowing your enemy, knowing your best friend, and then you want to solve your bad patterns. And the way you do it is really developing and creating methods to, I would say, firstly become aware, and become aware at the time you're having those emotions that are familiar to you, and that you can say, all right, this is happening, I'm feeling this, I'm thinking this, I predict that I'm gonna have this bad pattern, this behavior. And the moment you put awareness in it, you can as well interrupt the pattern. So you can disrupt it. And once you disrupt it, you want to replace it with something else. Let's say, for example, talking about a smoker, a person who's addictive smoking. This person knows his triggers, and knows that one of them is boredom. And so he wants to understand everything that makes him bored. So, for example, being at home, you gotta feel boredom. Having nothing to do, if you will feel boredom. Getting out of the job earlier, and consequently has nothing to do boredom. So he has to understand everything that will cause him boredom, and once he knows these triggers, he wants to utilize them in a way that directs him to a different behavior. So in this case, he wants to, instead of being at home without nothing to do, he wants to go to a friend's house or getting into a sport, something that kills this boredom, so it doesn't advance to the consequent behavior, which would be smoking. So this is the way I always work with my clients with, is it's understanding the before. So we have the mistake, we have the emotions, and these are only consequences of a bigger cause. And if you don't know what's happening before them, you will never be able to solve them. It is what it is. And this is something I think traders should start to do more. It's the introspective work.
For sure.
Knowing themselves and what triggers them. Yeah.
We all took trades out of boredom. We all made these mistakes. Just sitting, staring at the chart. Okay, I'm sitting here. It's like I'm wasting my time. I should do something. Okay, let's take this trade. Let's take this trade. Let's buy, let's sell, just out of boredom. When I started, I said,
okay, excitement.
Yeah. Or, okay, I need to prove to my surroundings that I'm not just sitting in front of the charts. I really do something. So here, I'm trading, I buy, I sell, I closing position, I'm taking profits, I'm losing money, I'm doing something just to prove to myself and to my surroundings that I'm not wasting my time. But this is trading out of boredom. For me,
it's true.
It was a very, very big issue until I worked on myself and said, okay, this is work. You are the boss. You don't have to work every day. You can look at the charts, stare at the charts, but you don't have to work. It's okay to sit even days on days. Just there is the familiar sentence, sit on hands, just do nothing. It's okay. In this kind of work,
that requires a lot of confidence.
Yeah, just sit on hands.
Sorry to interrupt you, but just like you said, we are used to in our lives to work hard, and the association we make is the more work, the harder we work, the more results we will get, which is true. It's true in school, it's true in your job, it's true in sports, but it's not true in trading. So when we pass on to trading and we all this limiting belief, and you want action, and it's like, you are a trader, so you need to be trading. So this is how we think, like how many traders think, and that makes them over trading. Like they need to fulfill that need, that they are really there on the charts for a reason. Otherwise, it's pathetic. So it's a huge limiting belief that once you overcome it, and once you can build the confidence in your strategy to doing so, you can break it, and an experience also. So yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. So who were your most major influencers on psychology, trading psychology, and the mental side? For me, it was, I heard a lot of YouTube, and I read a lot of books, but for me, the person that really got into me, my mind, was Mark Douglas. Once I heard Mark Douglas, it was like, okay, it was like that. And I hear him over and over and over again, I think several times a year. Every time I have this drawback in my trading, in my psychology, I just go back and I hear Mark Douglas, and he balance me back. So who are your influencers?
Yeah, I would say that Yeah, for most of the traders, it would be Mark Douglas. And for me, it was also. So he was the first person I knew that was treating trading the way he did, more the psychology side, and everything he said would make perfect sense. But then I started to get more into the topic, and I had, like, maybe not related to trading, related to trading, I would say the niche tool. So I don't know if you're knowledge with her, but she's great in trading psychology. She also coaches traders in the field, and and she has a book also. So yeah, it was one of the biggest ones for me because she's also a woman. So I really relate with her. But also, I always read a lot about psychology and everything that I could pick up on Antonio Damasio. So he's actually Portuguese, it's a neuroscientist, and he has great findings about and studies about how emotions influence our decision making, and not necessarily in a bad way. So we need emotion to decide. And he has a study. I don't know if you are familiar with Phineas Gage study, which is basically a person. I believe in the 70s he worked. He had a rough work. I can't recall, but he had a iron tube passing him through here and getting out in the frontal lobe, and he lost completely the empathy. He changed personality, so he was not the same person. And so what they found out with that study was that it was emotion is needed to decide, and that's the proof, and that's when it's all started to make sense, and a lot of studies started to happen around it because it was a great finding and it was spectacular. Eventually, he ended up dying, but he still lived for very long. So it's unbelievable. It's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say Denise Schul, Antonio Damasio, other authors on psychology, not related with trading. Uh, Also writers of, yeah, motivational books and psychology books in general. Malcolm Gladwell, um, can't recall right now, but yeah,
So, what is
these
your
are my main ones.
routine? Do you have any kind of daily routine, weekly routine, preparing for the next trading day? If it's from the technical side, if it's from the mental preparation, do you have some kind of a routine?
Okay, yeah. So I have my pre-trading routine, which is pretty simple. Traders used to complicate a little bit sometimes, I feel, but as I told before, it's about knowing yourself, knowing what works for yourself. And I was back in the days doing a crazy routine. Like I was reading, I was going for a run, and I was meditating, and I was doing affirmations. But I realized that, like, calm down and understand what's really driving your results. Like 20% of your actions in general drive all your results. So I needed to understand of those actions that I was having, what were the most high return on investment that I had. And I realized that simply not using my phone when I wake up, it's a big, it gives me a big leverage already. And sometimes I go for a walk around my neighborhood. So I wake up, I go for a walk. Many times it's raining, I don't go. I answer 3 questions in the morning. So in these 3 questions I can share with you guys, it's what 3 things I'm gonna focus in that trading session, the processes through which I will improve them or focus on them, and then one thing that I'm grateful for in my life, whatever. And so I write this. I have it here even. Like every single day, I write this. I answer the same questions, and then I get into trading. I open my charts. While I trade, I journal. And very important thing, it's underrated, but before all this, I put a music on, which is specifically positive jazz. So this is my music, and it's all the same. Like I have tons of videos on my YouTube, like suggestions, And I hear many times the same YouTube video, and it's every time the same, but it's really the only type of music, which is jazz, that can put me in a very focused mental state. And I'm just there, I trade, I journal. I usually finish around 12. So 12 for me, 12:30. And then I eat, I do my routine, I do my coachings, I go to the gym, which is very important. Time to time I meditate. And then yeah, I go to sleep. At the end of my day, I might come back to the charts and review one trade or another, and review what happened also. And then when it arrives to my weekends, is where I take like 1 hour, 1 hour 30 of my day, which is in the mornings most often, and I review the trades that I took in that week. I review my performance. I prepare my performance for next week. I review the price action of the week. And this takes me about 1 hour, 1 hour 30 to really analyze everything and go over my processes to doing so. And then I just, for the rest of the weekend, I just have fun and nothing much more. That's it. This is my routine, basically.
Sounds perfect. Sounds perfect. Yeah, music for me is a must while trading and preparing for the next trading day. It's a must. I close the door, put the music. Usually I have the same kind of music. Like for you, it's jazz. For me, it's something, I don't know what's the name of this kind of music, but it's very relaxing music. No words, just instrumental music, very soft, just in the background, you know.
Yeah,
I don't need to concentrate to hear the music. I know it's there. So yeah, I can relate to the music. So what is your best advice you can give for new traders, or any trader that finds the difficulty to stay in line and to be how you say it, yeah,
in the full mental edge?
yeah,
I would say the first thing is, so traders tend to focus on the results, and that's normal. That's normally the only way they have to get feedback. So try to find other ways of gathering this feedback related to your performance. So you need to have methods in place, processes in place that drive your attention from results to performance. So indicators that measure your performance, preparing not only your trades in the technical side, but your performance, setting goals related with your performance, nothing about numbers, nothing about results, just the way you want to execute. This is the first thing that will allow you to focus on the process. Then I would say that try to develop the habits that you want to have on the charts. Try to doing them first on your off the charts, like on your daily lives. So try to be disciplined with something else in your daily life. If it's going to the gym, try to go the number of times you want to go, you set to go. If it's not eating something or having a diet, just try to develop this discipline outside of the charts, because that is a much easier environment to develop it than the market. And then you're not a different person on the charts in your trading, so you will transpose those qualities to your trading. So this is very, very important. And also same with patience. Other thing would be like, nobody said it was easy. This trading thing, nobody said it would be easy, like that Coldplay song. And don't take things for granted, even when you can be profitable for like months. Don't elevate your ego because of that. But trading is very difficult, right? But if you can have the right habits, for the trader who has the good habits and has the consistency on the habits, it's much more easier. Not saying that trading is easier, but it's certainly more difficult for the trader who doesn't have these habits and doesn't want to change, and it's not committed to his change, and doesn't want to see is or her flaws. So yeah,
And
this
stop
is it.
searching for the Holy Grail. There is no Holy Grail in trading.
100%. That's a very good one. There is no holy grail in trading. There is what works for you and what works for other trader. Sometimes I see a lot of traders like in these communities, and what they do is try to know who is right or not. Like they don't even trade the same strategy.
Yeah.
So there is no right or wrong. Like in a consolidation, let's say, maybe your friend catches the upside, maybe you catch the downside. Like it doesn't matter, but you have to have a set of rules that rule your behavior in the market, and those differ from other people, other traders. So don't try to find the holy grail. It doesn't exist. Just
No,
only what works for you.
this is the
Just
only thing.
the moment you know, like the moment you know yourself, or the traders know themselves, they really start to be able to leave this belief aside and okay, let's find out what works best for me. Maybe if I'm a fast decision maker, it's scalping. Maybe if I like, and traders many times don't get this. It's the holy grail that they're searching for. No such thing.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Very true.
Sarah, it was a great pleasure having you. I hope this is the first of many more to come in the near future. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and have a great weekend. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Samit, for having me. It was a pleasure. Very nice time spent it here. And yeah, good weekend for you too.
Thank you.